Yo, what's shaking AC?
It's a secret. I wonder if that'll work. Do you think that works?
Maybe.
Okay, well, we'll find out,
We'll
right?
find out, yeah.
Okay, well, how are you?
I'm doing well, but I was thinking about some things a couple days ago, and one of the things that crossed my mind is that we haven't really spoken too much about what happens at your field coach roundtable, like on a weekly basis when you host it. And
Mm.
anytime we do speak about it, you've always got tons of awesome things to share. So I was like,
Oh,
should I call her or should I just wait till we sit down and rant? And so clearly I chose the latter.
yeah, because here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's going on?
Okay. Okay. Well, you definitely know how to get me going because that's passion thing for sure. Yeah. I get me talking, get me going, get me on, like Stephanie would say, on a soapbox, you
Yeah.
know. So, our topic this week, we often talk about franchisees and the challenges franchisees face and how we can help them. But we sort of flipped it around this week and we talked about the field coaches or the people supporting franchisees and their challenges of having to do difficult conversations. So we were talking about like, okay, when you've got like the questions I had in the topic email in advance were things like, okay, so you've got it, you know you have to have a difficult conversation. What are some things you do to prepare yourself? What are some how do you tell the franchisee? Do you send them an email and say, hey, we have to have a little bit of a tougher conversation. I just wanted to prepare you for that. Can you meet tomorrow on a call? Or do you avoid doing that because you don't want them to start making up assumptions in their head? Like you balance like preparing them versus, some people just start to kind of agonize over what's this call going to be, right? So it was all about that, and got some great key takeaways. You want to guess what they any of them were?
No, I just want you to tell me.
Okay. You don't have to do the work, right?
Right. I'm outsourcing that.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, you outsourced it to a whole bunch of really smart field coaches. So good thinking.
Well,
And
thanks. I mean, ain't no thing.
you know who was there?
Who was there?
Josh from Control V.
No way.
Yep, he was there and he did smart things. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what he said.
Okay.
It was actually pretty funny, well, of course, right? So he came on, he said, one thing that a family member once said to me that I didn't really like, and I will never say to somebody else is when you get on the call, Josh, are you in a good mood?
Because immediately you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, and then everyone started going, it's kind of like when someone gets heated and you're like, calm down.
Yeah.
Oh, that works well.
Relax, chill.
Yeah, okay, calm down, chill, chill. Yeah, as if that works. So we had a big laugh about that. So that was a good fun laugh. So one thing was to make sure that when you're going to have a difficult conversation, you go in with objective data or at least objective information. If you can show data, like if say you're going to talk to a franchisee about um marketing spend, common difficult conversation to have, say. And by the way, we categorize that there's difficult conversations with people that you have a good relationship with and difficult conversations that you don't have a good relationship with people with. Where, maybe there's tension all the time and this franchisee is frustrated and disengaged. And so I think in this the point about the data and the objective, I think that especially applies when you've got somebody who where there is tension in the relationship. So to go in and say like, hey, like this isn't about emotions, this is about like objective data. I'm going to show you here that these other franchisees that are in similar markets to yours, that have similar sized businesses to yours, they're spending this amount and they're getting this kind of ROI from it. Like that would be a way to try to go in where hopefully then they can't really debate that. I mean, they'll always come up with something, or they could always come up with something, but that's the kind of thing. So going in with objective data was one thing. We heard things like literally just take a deep breath before you start. And it sounds so obvious. And of course, we're always breathing, otherwise, we would not be alive. But it's actually intentionally taking that deep breath. Or if it's a really tough conversation, literally saying it out loud, or at least writing out the words you're going to use, because when it's a difficult conversation, certain words can change the whole tone, right? If like you change the word, if you should take out the word should, right? Like to I wonder if instead of you should, you know? So yeah, along that line, should I just keep going?
Yeah.
This is the end rant.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, I'll ask you a question. What's something that you do? Either you could say to prepare for a difficult conversation, or what's coming to mind for you when you hear this? Like, how do you approach?
Well, I would definitely say that there is strategy in the words that you use, right? But I think the biggest curveball that everyone faces is that difficult conversations are so contextual. You know, like what's your relationship with this person? Like you mentioned, good or bad, but also, do you command respect? Do you command authority? Do you command influence, right? Secondly, what sort of culture do you live in? Do you live in a culture where, you're very kind and empathetic, or are you a bit more of like a Sharky culture where like, hey, you screwed up royally, you're fired, right? And the person goes, yeah, I get it, I'm out of here. Or is
Mhm.
this going to be like now you have to go through arbitration and everyone's feelings are hurt and you're offended, right? It depends who you're
Yep.
speaking to. They always say when you're breaking up with somebody, it's best to rip the band-aid off right away, right? But the person who's doing the breaking up is empathetic to that person's emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there's so much context that goes
You're
into
so right.
this.
Yeah, this was a huge point of conversation because it depends on the person on the other end. And you're right, like the culture, all those things. And actually, we had some fun with getting into like some people do prefer just tell me straight up. And some people are like, no, you know what? I personally, for me, I don't want you to like sugarcoat it, but I do want you to be supportive in how you deliver it to me. If you're going to deliver something difficult for me to hear, like some feedback maybe that I'm not going to love hearing, if you say it in a way like, hey, this what I'm about to say is in the context of trying to be helpful and supportive. It's something that might be a blind spot for you. You might not be realizing, or maybe you are. But here's what I'm seeing. Something like that might be helpful. So we talked about getting clear on that. And then one thing that was really fun that we did is we got into because we were talking about all these things you can do, tips and things. And at one point I was like, it's great for us to sit here and talk like we're all the experts and like we do all this stuff all the time, but let's get real for a minute. Like I love getting real, right? Let's talk about like what we struggle with. Like let's because if we can talk about those things, then we can address those things. Back to you can name it, you can tame it. So we talked about like and like for me, I said I struggle to give difficult like constructive feedback sometimes with people. Depends again on the person and that like you said the context, but it sometimes I do beat around the bush and I try to like like maybe it's because it's like I'm giving them an excuse for why they did the thing, but I'm trying to still say, but you can't do that anymore. I know that's wrong. Like that's a weakness for sure, or a blind spot, or I guess it's not a blind spot because I'm aware of it. But that was what we were trying to do is get clear on some things that we need to work on.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear you. I think one of my weaknesses is, I've always got this mindset that you never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So like be kind. But I
Yeah.
feel that I'm too kind. Like sometimes I just need to get to the point, you screwed up. I'm telling you you screwed up. Like here it is. Now can we just move on? You're not doing this. You need to do this. It's in our agreement. Like I
Hmm.
feel like I need to be more like just get through the
You know,
bullshit, man. Like we're both
so
adults here. You're not gonna get offended, or I'm not gonna get offended. Like just let's move on.
this book I'm reading or listening to right now, Radical Candor.
Yep.
I've always heard about it and I've done, clips of YouTube and all that. And I was like, finally, like I'm going all in. I love the concept of caring personally and challenge directly. Like what you just said there, I would agree with like challenging directly, but doing it in a caring way and showing the person that like you screwed up, but I'm trying to help you. Like if that's and again, if that's your culture, that's fine. But I think
Hmm.
it's just really important to recognize the person on the other end and what they that it's not fair to them to hold back this information. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do a part two of this, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
Okay, we need to
let's
wrap
wrap
it
it
up.
up.
All
Leaving it
right.
up, leaving people hanging.
Yeah, we are. All right. Three, two, one. Go be awesome.